Hi, welcome to my video on the Cocoda phone tripod extendable selfie stick. Now I bought this selfie stick tripod off Amazon for £14.44. Now when you get it, this is the box that it comes in, and on the front it has a photograph of the actual selfie stick tripod. At the bottom it states it's the CY108, that's the model. And on the one side it tells you that it holds phones, action cameras, that includes your DSLR cameras as well, projectors, tablets, even though it does not provide you with a tablet holder. It's portable. It can double up as a microphone stand and is suitable for live broadcasts. Now on the back it just shows you a line diagram of the selfie stick tripod with the remote control, and the other picture just shows you how it looks when it's fully extended. And on the other side it just says multifunctional tripod. Now in the box you get the selfie stick tripod itself, a nylon drawstring bag, and also you get a small manual, a remote, universal remote or shutter button, and also a phone clamp. This is how the selfie stick tripod looks. Its main construction of the selfie stick tripod is out of aluminium and ABS plastic. So I'll go into some specs here. The actual weight of this selfie stick tripod weighs, without the camera on there or phone mount, weighs 350 grams, and its collapsible length as it is here now is 18 inches. At the top here we have this 1/4 inch screw thread which is attached to this dial here, or large fingered screw if you want to call it, or dial here, so you're able to tighten and loosen whatever camera or mount you place on there. We have this platform here which has this nice rubber platform, if you want to say, which is quite grippy to grip onto your bottom of your camera or mount that you place on there and tighten up. Now the actual platform itself is made out of plastic, ABS plastic, with a nice big thumb screw there, and there's one of the biggest thumb screws I've seen on a selfie stick tripod. Now that enables you to turn this platform at 180 degrees, and it is quite notchy, so that's good. So if you want a specific angle you can notch it into that particular angle, then screw down with the thumb screw. Come down to the actual stem, which is made out of aluminium, but I'll come to that later on. And this uses a locking system similar to what you get on tripods and monopods, where it's a simple clip, and these clips kind of snap out to release them and snap in with a nice firm click when you want to lock the tripod in different places. And I said tripod, but it's a selfie stick, so if you want to lock it at different lengths, you use these clips, and these are made out of ABS plastic. Now we come down to where the legs are, and we have this at the very top of the legs here. We have this kind of screw mechanism here, which is the adjustment screw for the legs. So if you want your legs to spread right out, you simply release this screw with a turn, and you can push down with this screw, which also then releases the legs and splays the legs at different angles. And if you want a preferred angle, you simply tighten with the screw here, and that will hold it. Come down to the actual legs that you get. Tripod design with these cross members in between each legs to give it strengthen the legs even more. And the legs are made of aluminium themselves, with this nice kind of rubber tip on the end with a bit of grip. I have to say, on there. And as you can see, between where the members, the cross members touch the legs and also the pole itself, we have these kind of gold colored see-through rings or stroke studs. Very bottom of the selfie stick tripod, we have a hole, and I have to say that this hole does not have any thread whatsoever. There's no thread in there, no female thread whatsoever, so it's not able to place a lanyard. It gives that impression, but I'm sorry, there's no thread in there whatsoever, so you can't exactly hook a lanyard to this. Part of the package that you get with this selfie stick tripod, you get a phone holder clamp. Now this phone holder clamp is a generic, and so I have to say it's a generic cheap phone holder clamp made of plastic. We do have some rubber at the bottom of the clamp and some rubber at the top of the clamp to hold your phone, and it is all made of plastic. We have a 1/4 inch screw thread on the back if you want to attach something like a coal shoe on there to hold a light or a microphone, etc. And then we have a 1/4 inch thread on the bottom to attach it to the selfie stick itself. And I have to say, with these generic phone holders, they are spring loaded, and this one has an awful squeakiness to it. This is how it looks when you place your phone into this phone holder. Now it is capable of holding your small phones, such as your mini phones like this one here, which is an iPhone 12 mini, all the way up to your notes can fit in this. As long as it's in a landscape position, it will hold it. Now, because of with this, your phone cannot go into portrait. So if you're going to take shots and you're holding this particular selfie stick tripod, you're going to have to turn your hand or your arm like so to get any kind of portraits with that. That's a pity with that. So if you do buy this, I suggest fork out a bit more money and upgrade to a phone holder that's able to turn, so you can go from landscape to portrait. Along with the phone mount that I showed you, you also get a shutter button. Now this is a universal shutter button that they are standard, and you can pick them up from literally from about £2 all the way up to a £5 for this particular shutter button. With these universal shutter buttons, it does have 2 buttons on there, and with some of them, both of these 2 buttons do exactly the same thing. If you want to take a photograph, you can either use either buttons, or if you want to take a video, you can use either buttons. Even though it states on there, with some of them they may state camera and video, you can do the same thing with the both of them. Now that's with some of these universal shutter buttons. Some of them, they are dedicated to what they say on the button. With this one, you can take anything, basically, either photograph or video with either one of the buttons. Now it does stay on there iOS and Android. They are not specific, these buttons are not specific for the operating system that you use. So it means if you've got an Android phone, you don't have to keep using that button. It's just basically advertising that it's suitable for Android or iOS phone users. When you're going to pair this shutter button remote for the first time, you switch it on. There's a on button, on and off button here, or toggle here. You'll get a blue light which comes on in there at the top, and it will flash in blue. Now if you're an Android user, you go to Bluetooth and make your phone discoverable so that your phone can see the shutter button. So that's what you do if you're an Android user. Now if you're an iPhone user, you just simply go to Bluetooth, and once you get to Bluetooth, you'll see the words, and I'll try and put it up on there, folks, AB shutter button 3. Yes, that comes up on there. Now once that comes up on there, you press on it. You don't need to pair, and you don't need to put any code whatsoever. It will connect with the shutter button, and the blue light will stop flashing. It will go out, and then you're connected. We're going to see if this remote from universal remote that Cocoda supplies, see if the phone either mutes the sound of the shutter button or we can hear it. So it's on photo here, and I'm going to press the big button at the top, and it doesn't mute the sound. Now I'm going to press the small button at the bottom, and it doesn't mute the sound. And as you can see, either one of these buttons does operate for the photo. So now I'm going to place it on video, and I'm going to press the top button and see if we still get a sound. And we still get a sound, so I'm going to stop it. And then it stops it. And I'm going to press the bottom button. And we still get a sound. And I'm going to stop it. And it stops it. And we get the sound. So as you can see, either button can control the video or the photo. You get a lanyard with this particular shutter button, which is a small wrist lanyard made out of nylon, because on this tripod selfie stick you do not get a pocket or a holder whatsoever to hold the shutter button. So my suggestion is, if you're out in the field or indoors, either keep the shutter button in your pocket, or you could just simply hang it off this large thumb screw like so and just store it like that. As for battery, this does not rely on charging. It takes a coin cell battery, and it has a little pocket at the back, so you simply remove this cover and we have the battery here, and it takes a coin cell battery which is a CY108. Now with this universal remote, it does not have an automatic shutdown on there whatsoever. It will go to sleep though. So if you leave it for long, it will go to sleep. It won't shut down, it will just go to sleep, and to waken it back up, you're gonna have to switch it back on again. So you gotta switch it off and switch it back on. This is how the Cocoda looks when it's fully extended. Now I've slightly turned the mount at the top and angled the mount, but when it's fully extended, it is 49 inches long when fully extended, so it's quite a long selfie stick. But as you know, in my videos I don't go by the total length of the selfie stick, because you lose inches for the handle, which as strokes doubles up as the feet. So you lose inches here and you lose inches with the mount at the top. So I normally go by the true extension length, which is at the top of the handle or feet here and at the bottom of the mount. And between these 2 points here, it extends out to 38 inches. Fully extended, we're going to do the wobble test here. And as you can see, just before doing the wobble test, it extends out only into 3 large sections. And I have to say, the top section, or the first section, or if you want to call it the last section at the top, is quite thick. And I would say that is most selfie sticks, handheld selfie sticks, last section in thickness. So it's quite a thick pole, quite a thick stem this particular selfie stick has. Now I'm going to give it a shake. And you can hear a little bit of a sound, but that is due to the actual mount at the top. But the actual stem itself feels quite steady, quite firm. Doesn't feel like it's going to snap in any particular section whatsoever. So it's quite a good sturdy selfie stick. As I stated before, it's quite a good sturdy stem that this selfie stick tripod has. We have a stem which is out of aluminium, as I said, with this kind of locking flip lock mechanism in between each of these sections, and the stem is made of aluminium. And we have a seam on one side of the stem, because the seams are on either side. So we have a seam on one side and a seam on the other, running all the way through these 3 sections, which is in a nice matte black finish. The actual mount here is connected to the stem, sorry, with this typical kind of, my guess is it's glue, and I'll try and pick it up on the camera, folks, but there's an indentation here at the front and an indentation at the back. So that's what's holding this actual mount to the scene and to the stem, sorry. This is how the Cocoda looks when it's fully extended, and my camera is at the other side of the lounge, and I'm still probably missing that foot, this foot down here off the Cocoda, probably is not in shot. So I'm trying my best, and my head's probably been cut off, so I'm going to crouch down a bit so you get all of me in. And this is how it looks. Now I'm going to stand up straight, and I am 5'7", just to show you what it looks like. And it comes basically with this point and shoot Sony camera on there. It comes up to my shoulder. So this is how it looks when it's fully extended. Now I have to say, it is quite sturdy. If it did wobble a bit, it's because I was right up close to the actual foot. And I have to say, this is one of the few selfie stick tripods or 3-in-1s which is suitable for outside. It does sit on a very wide base, and I'll get that into the next shot to show you what the feet look like when they're fully splayed out. But yes, if you want to place a mirrorless camera on there, or a point and shoot, or even an action camera on there, and even a DSLR camera on there, you can place it on this selfie stick tripod. Now if you're going to use a DSLR camera, please, if it's one of them ones you're going to use with a very long lens on there, it is not suitable for that. But if you're going to use a short lens on there, it is suitable to take that. Now here we have the legs of the Cocoda, and I hope I'm getting that right. The Cocoda selfie stick tripod, and it does have a very, very wide footprint. I would say it has a circumference, is it circumference or diameter, if it was to be drawn with a circle right round, of 20 inches, and it has to be one of the widest, and it does sit relatively low to the ground. If I place my hand under there, I would say I probably got about 3 centimeters before I'm touching the bottom. But because it's got these, I would say, these kind of cross members on each leg, it does give it very good sturdiness and strength. The bottom of this is really sturdy compared to most selfie stick tripods that I've come across, because of these cross members that it has here. But as I said to you earlier on in the video, you can make an adjustment. So here, if you don't want the legs to spread so far out, you simply turn this particular screw here, this adjustment screw here, and then simply slide the adjustment screw up the stem, and which will give you different kind of angles of the legs depending where you are. Now this is the part of the video where I give my 2 pence worth on the Cocoda tripod selfie stick, and I'll start off with the negatives first. Now the first negative has to be with the actual legs stroke handle. Not so much with the legs, because the legs are quite good on this, as I showed you before. It's more or less when this has to double up as a handle, and how some people are going to most likely use this as a selfie stick whilst using it as a tripod. It is quite thick, so if you're somebody with small hands, you're going to have trouble gripping this. Also, it depends what you fit on the top here. If it's things like a phone or a point and shoot camera, or even an action camera, you don't really have to worry about. But anything like a mirrorless camera or a DSLR camera, if you're going to put it up on this and have it fully extended out, after a time holding this, because these will dig into your hand as you're holding it, so it may become quite painful after a while, probably most likely after about 5 minutes of holding a DSLR camera on this. So that's a big negative when it comes to this particular selfie stick tripod. Another negative has to be with the mount. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a nice big steady platform mount that you get at the top, but because the construction of this is ABS plastic, if you drop this mount and break it, that is it. So really this should have been made out of metal to give it some longevity. In case if you drop it, at least you'd probably dent it, but you won't break it. And the two last negatives about this, even though I said it was about the handle, it's the legs. No, it's not because of the leg. The legs are quite strong, but because they have this cross member in there, if you're going to do any kind of filming and you're holding this, you might get the sound of these legs clattering together. Now, the reason why they're clattering or making a clattering sound is the cross members, which if I release that to show you, the cross members here sit within inside the legs. So, and because they use these kind of rivets or studs here, you can hear the shaking in there. There's a bit of looseness in there. So if you're doing any filming with your phone or whatever, try and keep these tight. I suggest holding it not from the center, but holding it close to the bottom where the cross members sit within inside the legs here to stop this clattering. And the very last one, negative, has to be with this hole down here. It does give the impression like you can screw in a 1/4 inch screw thread in there to hold a lanyard on there. You can't. There's no thread with inside that hole whatsoever. It's just a plain hole. And now for the positives. Now the first big positive of this is its price. At £14.44 in the UK, it's a very good price for this product. I think this is one of the few products that is not a premium product, which the pricing is fitted the actual item itself. So for £14.44, they've got it, they've nailed it when it comes to terms of the pricing for this item. The positive, you get a nice bag with it. It's not the best of all bags, but it's a nice little drawstring nylon bag that you do get with it. Now this is water resistant. Rainy days, it's all right to place your item, place the selfie stick tripod within it. So this is okay. So you get that. I like how you get a phone holder with it. It's not the best phone holder by far with this squeakiness and how it feels cheap, but at least they provide you with a phone holder. And it should have went in the negative as well, that if you wanted to get, when you get this, try and upgrade the phone holder if you can. So if you want it, especially if you're taking portrait shots, upgrade the phone holder. And also you get a nice universal remote with a lanyard in there. Quite good because they generally join to anything that you place it with these remotes. And if you lose it, you're not really losing out of pocket because you can pick up one, as I stated, between £2 to £5. And the very last positive has to be that this particular selfie stick tripod can take even up to your DSLR cameras. Now, as I stated, it doesn't really state anywhere on there what the maximum payload of this can take, but the only thing I can suggest is if you're going to place a DSLR camera on there, do not place it with the ones with the very big lens. Don't put a very big lens on it. As long as you don't do that, you'll be all right with this. Now, I'm not going to ask, is this suitable to take out on windy days? Just like everything else I've said when it comes to selfie stick tripods, if you're going to take this out on a windy day, I suggest you try and tether it to a post, because obviously the wind is unpredictable and it could blow this over with your expensive camera on there, so bear that in mind. But on even a breezy day, which is probably the wind is going between, say, 2 miles an hour up to 4 miles an hour, you should be all right with this, depending on what you fit on the top. You should be all right as long as you have the legs spread right out. Now this is my overall conclusion on the Cocoda CY108. Now, just before I carry on with this, in parts of the world, this may come up as the Yunteng VCT-1388. Now, I think I've done a video on this. One of my earliest videos is probably on that already. But in Europe, it comes up as the Cocoda. So be aware of that. You can't go wrong with this, especially as the amount of things this doubles up as. It can double up as your selfie stick by holding cameras of all descriptions on there, or with the phone mount, holding your phone mount on there. It can double up as a microphone stand, so you can attach a microphone holder on there, as long as it takes a 1/4 inch thread. It doubles up as that. It can also double up as a light stand on there as well, so you can double up as that. And if you're doing live broadcasts or podcasts, etc., you can fit various mounts on there to hold your camera, lights, microphone on there also. It does state that it can hold tablets, but you're going to have to buy a tablet holder to hold your tablet that has a 1/4 inch screw thread, female 1/4 inch screw thread on there. But for what it does, for its price and what it can hold, it's great. It's a pity that it doesn't state what the maximum payload it can take. It does not state that. As I said, it has a little bit of negatives on there. There is some negatives on there which I already stated, especially this clattering of the legs when you need to hold this thing, so beware of that. But overall, I think for its price, it's a great product. Now, if you happen to have the Cocoda or even the Yunteng version, please leave a note down in the comments what you think about it, because obviously your opinions are different to my opinions, so leave that down in the comment section. Thanks for watching the video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. I perfectly understand my videos can be long, but I like to go into detail on the item or the product, so when you get it, you know what to expect. Please subscribe to my channel if you like the channel. I'll be grateful for that, and I'll see you next time.